Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Lucha Rewatch Season 3. We are on episode 19 out of 20. That's right, this is the penultimate episode of Lucha Rewatch Season 3. And these were two awesome episodes full of great matches, including, I would argue, the best match in the history of Lucha Underground, that being Hell of War. I freaking loved that match, but there were also some other great matches here, John. We also, just in case you guys aren't necessarily keeping up with the exact episodes that we're watching, this is episodes 37 and 38 of Lucha Underground Season 3, the first two episodes of Ultima Lucha 3. So, John, now that I've gotten that out of the way, let us know what you thought of these episodes of Lucha Underground Season 3.
Oh, well, brother, episode 37, which really was predominantly Hell of War, although we did also get Tejano versus Famous B on this episode. You already know how I feel about Hell of War. I talked about it extensively, not just in our Lucha Underground commentaries, but, you know, in our end of the year awards. I celebrated the shit out of this match. So my commentary on that's probably going to be minimal when we get to it, because I just feel like I've exhausted everything there is to say. But needless to say, it still holds up. And then you've got episode 38 that has the Battle Royal for the unique opportunity, which was a very quick match, but the pacing, I think, was actually to its benefit. Katrina versus Ivelisse, which, honestly, on second viewing, I might have actually come away liking more than the first viewing. I'm actually really curious what you feel about that when we get to it. And then the main event, Mask versus Hair, which I think kind of our more critical review of it, you know, the first time still stands for the most part, but I did enjoy a lot of the post-match stuff. So yeah, man, I'm curious really where you're coming from a lot on these rewatches. So let's get right into this.
Absolutely, yeah. So let's get right into episode 37. We start things out with a recap as always, and specifically we really do just go over the entire Killshot Dante Fox feud with some, you know, some brief touching on the Famous B Tejano story as we've seen it so far. And then we get back to the temple, and the highlight, not really the highlight of the whole show, but a great little thing that I love that we haven't had in a while. Mariachi El Bronx is back in the temple, baby. Woo!
There is nothing like quality music to go with your violence, my man. Yeah, Mariachi.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, though. All these episodes that we've been rewatching, I gotta look into Slapback too, because those guys are funky as hell, and that's the exact kind of music that I love. So that's something that I'm gonna have to look into on my own time. But for now, because of Lucha Underground, I already did look into El Bronx, Mariachi El Bronx. They were the Bronx when they were a punk rock band. And then they just decided one day, hey, let's make mariachi music. And they became Mariachi El Bronx. And I love their shit. I love Mariachi El Bronx's music. I have one of their CDs downloaded to my phone, and I listen to it every now and then. It's so good. And like I said, I got to look into Slapback then too. But they're great. And then we get into our first match immediately, that being Tejano versus, it was supposed to just be Famous B, but before the match starts, Famous B says, hey man, you're a rough, tough cowboy, and I can't beat you in my current condition. So I made some calls to Dario Cueto, and he said that I could choose a partner and make this thing a real handicap match. And as we all know, Famous B's current client, Dr. Wagner Jr., is kind of a badass.
Oh, I love Dr. Wagner Jr. That's another thing I got to credit Lucha Underground for, because I think it really did start with them in New Japan kind of working in tandem, that showed me that just because you're an older competitor doesn't mean that the match is going to be boring or that the performer themselves is bad, like on any metric. And Dr. Wagner Jr. is just another testament to that. I love how the guy works. And really, this match, for what it was, because I noticed something, too, on the whole about Ultima Lucha Tres, and I'm curious about your thoughts on it. The shorter matches, to me, sometimes even outperformed in a way like some of the bigger, more built-up matches. Like, for example, I would say that Katrina Ivelisse for me in episode 38, and I don't mean to jump the gun, but I still enjoyed that more than Mask versus Hair.
Yeah. I think we agreed when we initially reviewed the show, and we agree now, that Mask versus Hair, while not bad, had so much more to give than it did.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll say for this match, Famous B, man, I love him to death. You know that. I'm so happy he's been getting this push. I'm kind of waiting for Vinny to get his turn, because I feel like he could be another one that really surprises us. But Famous B, man, thank goodness for the whole I'm retired kind of shtick, and he really is primarily a manager because he really cashed in on his bump card something fierce, getting thrown off the steps of the temple onto the floor. Seeing that spot again, I was like, ooh, ooh. So yeah, that looked nasty to me. I thought the match was really well paced, because Dr. Widener worked most of it. And the parts where Famous B worked it, I liked a little bit of character. Like, he comes in at one point, he's holding his arm because Tejano's ripped the cast off, and he's fucking nursing his back after getting chucked off the steps. And he's like, "You idiot! Why didn't you just sign the contract? Why didn't you just join me?" It's just like stomping away while he's just asking, like, "Why wouldn't you just be my client? It didn't have to be this way." So I love that. I love the petulance of Famous B. And really, I can even have a deeper appreciation for the finish because Tejano seems like he's got this well in hand. But Brenda gets on the apron. She plants a smooch on Tejano. Famous B rolls him up, gets the feet on the rope. So you're really just doing everything you can to protect Tejano. Yeah. And you get the 3 count. So it was a very quick match. It was a serviceable match. But you know what? It furthered the narrative. And it had that one standout moment of Famous B taking one hell of a bump. So, I mean, what did you think about this?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, really, you want to talk about these guys, I love that, like you said, they protected Tejano so much. Like, not only was he distracted and got the distraction roll up, but then Famous B with his feet on the ropes too. That was great. I love too. And not only that, but even if you just think about the match itself, you didn't even have to do all that. There was a handicap match. You could beat Tejano in a handicap match and he didn't lose any credibility, but they still went the extra mile to be like, no, not only are we going to use the handicap match as an excuse, but we're also going to have him get distracted by a hot lady and we're going to have him lose because of feet on the ropes. It was all that stuff combined. And now, not only did that keep Tejano strong as a Lucha Underground character, but that makes him look even better for Famous B as a client.
That's an excellent point. I think we can end on that point because there's nothing better I can add than that. You're absolutely right. And I'm curious how it's going to translate into season 4. But with that said, let's move on. And Ultimate Lucha really isn't known for its cinematics. We did get one at episode 38 that I quite liked and that played in later.
At the very beginning of the episode, yeah.
But here we go right into Hell of War, right?
Well, we did get a brief overview of Ultima Lucha 3 and the matches that were still remaining, and we did find out that the following week, which is the other episode that we are going to review tonight, episode 38, that we were going to be getting Ivelisse Katrina, an Ultimate Opportunity Battle Royal, which we didn't know about prior to this, and Phoenix versus Marty, Mask versus Hair. So episode 38, even though it didn't have the match, which is what we're going to talk about here next, it was still really stacked, and we didn't even necessarily realize how stacked it was until we found this out. So that was a cool thing to know about. And then we got into our second and final match of episode 37, Kill Shot, Dante Fox, Hell of War. Oh my God.
I want you to talk, because again, I've already, with so much of our content, I've talked about this to death. Upon rewatching, did you come away with any new appreciations? How many appreciations were reinforced? Did you have any criticisms whatsoever that maybe you didn't have before? What did you think about this?
I have nothing but good things to say about this match. Obviously, I'm not a big fan of the ultra hardcore style, but if there was ever a case where ultra hardcore wrestling made sense from a storyline perspective, it is the two guys that literally went to war together. One of them left the other for dead, and the one that got left for dead cost the other the opportunity to earn a championship match. Like, there is so much personal hatred between these guys. And the thing that makes it even more of a hatred is because you could really tell that they were close prior to Killshot leaving Dante up for dead. Like, you could tell that they had what might have even been considered a little bit of a brotherhood going on before that happened. And Killshot really did kind of ruin it by leaving Dante for dead the way he did. And now this, like, you can even throw back to like Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Nobody is going to push you harder than a guy that you either now or previously considered to be your best friend. And not only is that the case here, but these guys are also embittered rivals. And I mean, in Dante's mind, I think you could say enemies even. So the fact that they built this up to such an emotional level, anything less than what we got would have felt like they were coming up short from a payoff perspective.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything. I mean, dude, just looking at the first fall, being first blood. I mean, one spot in here, because And can I just say too, because I actually owe you somewhat of an apology, because I feel bad that we never really got to explore last episode when you said, "Oh, I feel like there's a Rudo currently in the temple that can be that guy, you know, that Prince Puma guy." And you know, because I had talked so much about whatever match that inspired, but we never really got to explore that topic. I look at how Dante performed here, and I feel like if you were to substantiate your argument about that, this is the match you would show people, in my opinion, because he has a spot in here that I appreciated so much more the second time. That ring post assisted moonsault on the ladder.
Yes.
I was like, holy fucking shit. Like, dude, like, the stuff Dante did here.
Dude, he was utilizing parkour better than Mundo does.
Yeah, I mean, and dude, this is coming from the Ultra Mundo fan. I mean, I'm sometimes jokingly called Ricky Mundo. But no, I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like, this dude has the ability. He has the body language. Like, I'm watching this match, and I thought about you while watching this match again, which I think kind of enhanced my viewing, as if there was any enhancing that could be needed. And I thought about you saying, like, he could be that guy. And as I'm watching this, I'm like, you know, really, to me, either of these guys could be the guy. But Dante, like, just has that look, and he has that, like, a ring post assisted fucking moonsault.
Yeah.
And, you know, I love what, how the first fall ended, you know, with him and Killshot fighting. And it seemed like it was going to be a fox catcher, you know, off the top rope, like avalanche fox catcher, but then Killshot kind of turns it around. He seems like he's going to go for a double arm underhook, almost like a butterfly bomb. But he gets backdropped into the glass, which, by the way, I love how Dante even got that glass set up or introduced it, because he threatens Rick Knox. Like, you're going to set up, you're going to help me with this, you're going to bleed. Here's the weird thing about commentary. It had its good moments on Striker's end. He had one thing that annoyed me, but see, this is why Vampiro matters, because I feel like this might have happened more in the second fall. But there was one point where Killshot hit Killer Instinct, right? And Dante kicks out. And I love that Matt was like, oh, Hogan-esque. And Vampiro wasn't having that shit, because you don't talk about people that don't dwell in the temple. You keep the focus on the temple. And he says, nah, Hogan ain't about Hogan. It's about when you hate somebody. It's pure hatred. It's adrenaline. It's saying, I will never lose to you, mother effer. I love that. I love that Vampiro kept the focus. So I'm not saying Striker did anything incredibly heinous,
right?
But like, there's no need to take it to that place when this is very clearly a very personal story. I mean, do you have anything to lend to me, like talking about commentary? Did you notice anything kind of like how I noticed, or?
No, honestly, dude, I barely even paid attention to commentary during this match, which is really off for me, because I'm normally the person that does point out random little things that commentary says that might be interpreted one way or another. And I did catch one stupid little line in Phoenix versus Marty the Moth that isn't really like deep or storyline driven, that just made me chuckle because I'm a child. But still, yeah, no, there wasn't anything in this match that I was really like, wow, that commentary line might actually mean something bigger. So no, I can't really say.
But again, you know, Striker to me also had good points on commentary, like where he was driving the story, especially like, now this is something where I will add, because again, I love the match. If you guys haven't seen the match for whatever reason, go and watch it. That climax, man, like that whole exchange of, I'm going to put you on the stretcher, or no, first of all, I'm going to Death Valley driver you on the stretcher, and then the piece of flesh, that camera work, it still churns my stomach in the best possible way, even now. The Killer Instinct with Dante strapped in the stretcher, you know, that was great.
Yeah, the kill stomp.
Yeah, just fucking amazing to me.
Honestly, one of the coolest little, like, and it wasn't like a big, like, oh my god, he's dead moment, but one of the coolest little spots in this match that I thought was just so creative and had a great aesthetic to it was Killshot doing the running drop kick to Dante and landing flat on the freaking gurney. I loved that.
Yeah, dude, that still to this day blows my fucking mind. Like,
that was awesome.
That's still one of, I think, my favorite spots, not just in this match, but that I've seen in a long time wrestling.
And thankfully, that happened before Dante's flesh ended up on said gurney, so we didn't have to worry about them getting infected.
Yeah, and like I understand that shotgun drop kick where he lands on the stretcher, I call that one of my favorite spots ever in an age where we've seen crazy spot that's like Ospreay versus Ricochet and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that still has that shit beat, which is just really a testament to how great this match is. But like, for me, because you know how I've approached Hell of War, I'm really, if there was any quote unquote snob between the two of us, I'm really thinking that it is me, because like I called this match straight up art, you know, in our award show. And I talked about the poetry of it and the symbolism and the representation of PTSD. And I wanted to, because like I even had a conversation about this with a friend recently. And I feel like wrestling can always be deeper. I feel like a lot of the analyses or criticisms are usually superficial. And I like to think that one great part of being about this community, or being a part of this community, is going deeper, talking about the stories, talking about like what make these characters so good, you know, on that level. And when they're fighting on that stage, which, by the way, quick side note, I loved how into it Mariachi El Bronx were, because one of these guys was like straight up smiling, like, yeah, Pro C, kill each other. I loved it. And as Dante's choking out Killshot, and then Killshot, of course, does the glass bottle shot.
Yeah.
When Dante's laying in the wreckage of the glass, and this is a camera shot I didn't appreciate before, you know, because I was afraid he was dead at first. The look on his face, like, because he's fucking unconscious, he looks so peaceful amidst the wreckage, and there's almost a beauteous quality to that to me. It's almost
you
like
came away with that conclusion too. That's amazing. Yeah, he really like. It's not necessarily like, oh, he looks comfy. No, but it's almost like he was at home in that.
Yeah.
Which tells such a like, and it's beautiful in a really sad way, because like it makes sense, because this dude, from a character perspective at least, and it's even more tragic from a real life perspective, but from a character perspective, he's a war guy. He's a freaking soldier. Like, it makes sense that he would be at home in amidst this pain and this chaos, because that's a big part of PTSD, is guys spend months at a time sleeping on the freaking ground and on rocks, and then they come home and the bed is too soft. That's the kind of shit that we're talking about. And now, granted, they're not literally sleeping in a pile of glass like this. And that's kind of where I was getting to with how much more tragic it is from a real life perspective, because, you know, AR Fox has been doing deathmatch shit for way too long, and he's too goddamn talented to keep doing it. But still, this match was incredible.
Yeah, like, honestly, I know we're currently seeing this storyline play out in progress, but I feel so many like parallels between Dante Fox and Jimmy Havoc. Like, you guys kill yourselves, but you're genuinely good. Like, you'd never have to pick up a box cutter or a glass table or anything like that again. And I would never like lose sleep over it. I would never shed a single tear, because what you do technically is just as breathtaking, if not more so. And then when you bring the two worlds together, I mean, mother of God. And I love, too, because I don't really think it fully sank in. I couldn't really fully appreciate it the first time, when Killshot carries him like you do, right, in war, when it's like, oh, I can't go on, you know, leave me. And you pick him up in that fireman's carry style, and you carry him across the battlefield to a medic or something. Like, you know, that was great imagery. And then when he closes the door and he rests his head against it, like, finally it's over, and he goes to the ring, and all he wants to do is clench his dog tag, and he sits on the middle rope, and he looks up at the sky, almost like awash in this relief that it's over. I've ended it. And it's just, God damn, man, light me another after sex cigarette for this shit, because it's still just as good as the first time I watched it. Like, I stand by everything I said in the award show, and if I ever came off as snobbish or pretentious, well, you know what? Fuck it.
You're gonna own it.
And pretentious. Yeah, I double down. I absolutely double down on everything that I said, that this match is art. This match is probably the best representation. And let's talk about representation very quickly, because between Lucha Underground representing in a healthy way mental illness, and specifically PTSD, and New Japan Pro Wrestling representing LGBTQ plus with golden lovers, right? Because there was an amazing Twitter thread done on that, which Kenny Omega endorsed. Yeah. There is no reason why, when WWE talks about like venturing into those areas, like I know AJ Lee, she said she was angry because she has bipolar disorder, and they wanted to do a segment. Oh, AJ, well, imagine if you were seeing dinosaurs and this and that. And she's like, no, that's crap. Like, what terrifies me about WWE being the big game in town and wanting to venture into these areas is because they do not have the nuance. They do not have, to me, the depth, the capability, if you will, to really give those kinds of storylines the gravity and the seriousness that they deserve, because it's a joke to them. And I love that we can look at something like this, something that's such a sensitive topic in this country because so many veterans go without medical care. I mean, I remember an article where a photographer did a project following these soldiers with PTSD. And I remember one image that's always stuck in my brain was a soldier looking in the mirror while they had a gun to their temple, like thinking, is today the day I'm going to pull the trigger? Like it's serious shit. And they never once made it a joke. They never once treated it less than what it is. And it turned out to be, and again, if I'm snobbish or pretentious, I'm fucking doubling down, turned out to be probably one of the most beautiful stories I've ever seen from beginning to end in pro wrestling in my life as a fan. And that's where this match sits with me, and I think will always sit with me. So hats off to Killshot and Dante. Hats off to the writers, obviously, Roach to Joseph, Wagan and Stolman. Can't wait to have Roach to Joseph on the podcast. That's going to be March 14th.
2 weeks, brother, 2 weeks.
And yeah, I'm sorry. I know I even said I wasn't going to talk that much about this match, but you see, you got me going, man. So yeah, that was Hell of War. And I've got nothing else to say about it unless there's anything else you want to add. Because really, again, I was more interested in your perspective than my own, since I already know that.
No, we've said all we can say about this match. You ready to move on to episode 38, brother?
Let's do it, man.
Oh, actually, I take that back. We forgot to mention the most important part.
Yeah.
At the end, the most beautiful moment in this match, after Dante falls through all that shit, the glass and the tables and the chairs, and Killshot comes back for him. That's what it is. It's Killshot coming back for him. What did Killshot never do? He never came back for Dante until now.
And that's how we can end it. Because I didn't even think about it in those terms. I know I did mention him loading him in the ambulance again to the dog tags, but I never really thought about him coming, back for Dante. That's great, man. I love that. I love that so much.
He, for once, different than the last time, he didn't leave Dante behind.
Yeah, holy shit. And dude, not to jump the gun, but I already know, like, again, you put the spoiler warnings and stuff. How interesting is it that this whole idea of you left me behind, no, I didn't, whatever, now they're in a tag team together where it's all about dependency. I never even thought about it from that angle either. I've always just thought, like, oh, they're in a team now, that's cool. But if you look at the deeper meaning, yeah, tag team wrestling is about being able to depend on the other guy. And now they're kind of stuck together in that relationship. That's so fucking good. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, I have nothing to add. That's great.
All right, guys. That's it for Hell of War, and now we can move on to episode 38, which we start out with a recap going over the Ivelisse Katrina feud and Marty and Phoenix, and then the whole shebang with the Jeremiah Ivelisse Katrina Mill Love Square, or however you want to call it.
Love Square.
And then we get our first cinematic of Ultima Lucha 3, which is Ivelisse chewing out Jeremiah and just telling him, who is she? And then he's doing the shut up. And he's just like, she said, like, you don't tell me to shut. And they said, shut up again. And then he's just like, I wanted to tell you. And then he's just like, and she's, oh, who is she? And then he's fine. It's Katrina. I'm in love with Katrina, not you. And she just fires back with, I don't need you. I don't need any man. After I get done whipping Katrina's ass tonight, I'm going to come back here and finish beating yours. And she walks away. And then Jeremiah makes the biggest mistake, or so we thought, of his life by saying, yeah, walk away, bitch. And then she turns around and super kicks his ass right into the bathroom stall.
Yeah, I love it, dude. I love it. It definitely, to me, I can appreciate it even more, like, in conjunction with this. Reminded me of that one part of the Jessica Jones trailer where a guy in the bathroom's kind of mouthing off, and Jessica Jones just grabs his face and, like, pushes it up against the mirror. Like, you want to say that shit again? So, yeah, it's great stuff. These really fiery, badass female characters, and Ivelisse, is definitely, that's why I'm hoping she can stay healthy bell to bell for a whole season for season 4, because I just feel like she has so much to give. And really, a feud with Jeremiah, I have to imagine, is the top of the list. Like, I have to imagine that, like, especially with how her match with Katrina ended, she's got a debt to pay, and I'm hoping she's able to pay it. But yeah, this cinematic was absolutely fantastic. But we don't get to Katrina and Ivelisse until a little bit later. So after this cinematic, I know we get our usual introductions and stuff from Matt and Vampiro, and then we open with the Battle Royal, right?
We do, yeah. And again, we do have Mariachi El Bronx here again, but then we do open with the unique opportunity battle royal, and it is just a traditional over-the-top rope battle royal. It's not like a Royal Rumble where you get guys coming in every like minute and a half. It's not like an Aztec Warfare where it has that rule. Plus, you also have to pin or submit your opponent to eliminate them. It's just traditional. Everyone starts in the ring, and the eliminations are over the top rope. Both feet have to touch the floor. The match consists of, are you ready for this list?
Yeah.
Joey Ryan, PJ Black, Ricky Mundo, Vinny Massaro, Mascarita Sagrada, Argenis, Mala Suerte, Saltador, Paul London, Cortez Castro, Son of Badness, The Mac, and Pimpinela Escarlata.
Yeah, Pimpinela making his big return here. And actually performed very well in this Battle Royal. But you know what? I want to get your thoughts on this first, because really my biggest compliment for this Battle Royal was the pacing was fantastic. I mean, they got right down to business, didn't seem to overly linger. And yeah, I really appreciate the pacing. But what about you? What were some of your takeaways about this?
I mean, it was fun to me. I enjoyed the hell out of it, especially just some of the crazy antics that went on. Like we had... Early on, there was a moment where I think it was the two cops, Joey Ryan and Cortez. I think Joey knocked Cortez over the top rope and thought that he eliminated him, but Cortez was still in the apron. And then Cortez pulled Joey Ryan over the ropes, and they were both on the apron. And Mascarita, little guy, did the freaking double spear to knock them both out. So that was great. Pimpinela ended up eliminating Paul London, Mala Suerte, and then helping Mascarita to eliminate Saltador. So those two together eliminated 5 people combined. And then Pimpy also ended up eliminating Argenis. And then there was a cool thing where PJ Black did, like, he literally just lifted Mascarita up over his head and threw him out onto the Rabbit Tribe. So I'm sure the Rabbit Tribe appreciated that. Thank you for giving us our deity. And then the Mac did end up winning, but there was a cute little moment where PJ did like a back body drop to Ricky Mandel because he was blinded by a Mac kick or something like that. I don't even remember what blinded him, but he was covering his face. And then like Ricky Mundo like hugged him for no reason, it seemed. And then yeah, they both got eliminated by Mac because Mac knocked Ricky off, and then he did a stunner to PJ and threw him up over. So it was a really short match relative to what I expected, but it was a lot of fun while it lasted.
I almost wonder if Ricky Mundo hugged PJ as a way to like protect him, because again, maybe he thought that shot would have also sent PJ over if like Mundo didn't brace himself with him. I'm not so sure, but yeah, I mean, Mac really cleans house. I feel like Pimpy got a lot of eliminations too, which is why I said that she did quite well in this. And yeah, Mac ultimately gets the win after stunning PJ. And then Dario comes out and he tells him what he's won. So, Ashton, what did Mac win?
Mac won a trios titles opportunity against the Reptile Tribe, Pindar, Drago, and Vibora. And the little surprise, as Cueto likes to call it, I call it a twist or a catch-22 or a swerve. Doesn't really matter. He calls it a surprise because that's like the least negative way to put it. The surprise is he gets to choose the Mac's partners. And who does he choose? The two motherfuckers that just went to war with each other on the previous show, Killshot and Dante Fox.
Which, can I just say as a quick aside, Seth Rollins is getting a lot of praise lately, and rightfully so, for like his Iron Man performances, his incredible feats, like, you know, flying halfway across the ring on Miz this past Monday. And I believe him when he says he wants to make it Monday Night Rollins. But like, if that isn't proof, getting Dante and Killshot a trios championship match after they murdered each other, that yeah, we're definitely, when we're building this temple, when we're building the reputation of Lucha Underground, these two guys are integral to it. I don't know what does, because it's not just the idea that they're double booked. They're double booked in light of what they've already gone through. And like, that is just nuts to me. So yeah, I really thought like you can't get a bigger nod for these two guys than them being in that situation. And I'm so happy for them that that's their standing in Lucha Underground at present. And I can't wait to see them grow. I mean, Killshot's already been growing for a few seasons. I should really direct that more at Dante, but either way, like, I just can't wait to see these guys reach the top of the summit, because I absolutely do believe they will, both of them, reach the top of the summit one day. And yeah, I thought that was really cool.
All right. I believe that after the Unique Opportunity Battle Royal, we got right into our second match, which was the match that you were praising earlier. So I want to go first, and then I'll let you kind of vent about how much you enjoyed it. We got Katrina versus Ivelisse. We start things out with Evie just charging the ring and tackling Katrina immediately, and then the bell rings. She ends up, they fight in the ring a little bit, but then they quickly end up on the outside. They're battling it out on the outside. Ivelisse ends up stripping Katrina's sheer top off, basically down to her freaking bra. And then Katrina escapes to Cueto's office, and Ivelisse tries to get in through the door. Doesn't work. Goes to the other door. Doesn't work. Goes back to the first door, and she gets cracked over the head with a beer bottle by Katrina. And then Cueto comes out, and he's just like, everything that's happening here is beautiful. That was great. I love the moment. And then they kind of walk out. Katrina has another beer bottle, which she also smashes over Ivelisse's head. Ivelisse, bloodied, busted open. They fight on the outside. They fight up the steps. They fight into the crowd. All kinds of fun, just nuts, like borderline false count anywhere type shit, but it's not a false count anywhere match. So they get back in the ring. And when they do get back in the ring, Katrina hits her own version of the Reaper's Trident, Mil Muertes' big spear that he does. And then she wants to use the stone that she uses to power Mil up. And she's already used that before to basically cause Ivelisse to lose. She cost her first Ultima Lucha match with that stone by costing her and Angelico and Son of Havoc their trios titles match against the Disciples of Death. But Ivelisse kicks her hand and then does a double leg takedown, which causes Katrina to drop it. And then she ends up getting it. We have a big struggle. Katrina trying to push her away, trying to grab the stone out of her hand. Ivelisse ends up getting the upper hand and uses the stone on Katrina, and then does a step-up DDT for the win. And we'll talk about the post-match after you get to talk about this, so go for it.
Brother, and I feel like a lot of my praise is going to be similar to the first time we watched it, but, like, I really don't think I appreciated, like, how violent they were able to get in, like, such a small window of time, because Ivelisse bled, dude. Like, I saw her get busted open again, and I'm like, I don't remember her bleeding that much. God damn. So, like, yeah, 3 bottles to the face will do that to you without question. But, yeah, I think what I really appreciated about this, and this is why I love Lucha Underground, and I would like to have faith that WWE could get it, and I think they do in a way. I'm not going to totally, like, be like, oh, they don't get it at all. But, like, I think they get it in a way with Mandy Rose, because, like, she's in a faction, and I'm not even trying to say that Katrina is Mandy Rose, because she's been around the block a while now, but I always feel like she's always been more of a character performer than an in-ring performer. That's where she really excels, is character work. But they actually put on a good match, because to me, it was never meant to be a wrestling match with Greco-Roman knuckle locks and fireman's carries and all that jazz. It was supposed to be a fight. And that's really what this was a fight. That really Katrina brought it to Ivelisse again with the 3 glass bottles of that. And I love Dario Cueto, like, what's going on here? It's beautiful. Like, I love that. I love that so much. Yeah, and yeah, the Reaper's Trident was great. I guess what I'm really trying to articulate here, and I apologize, like, I'm always like this frenetic kind of speaker, but is that I feel like Katrina was very well protected. And I loved that the stone, which has been a narrative device, to your point, I'm so happy you brought that up. Like, it's a narrative device again here. But, and we also said this in our first review, I remember, I love that Ivelisse didn't want to coast on the stone. She used it as a setup for her own will, for her own wrestling in that DDT.
Kind of like Tejano when he, when Famous B let him cover him, and he's just like, no, I'm going to beat you with my power bomb, bitch. And he does. And then, like, there was another point, I think it was Daga. It was like a big, like 3 or 4-way match, and Cobra Moon hit a big move that would have put someone away, and then she was trying to give the win to Daga, and Daga did his finisher on top of it just to make sure that it was him doing it. So that seems to be kind of a trend in Lucha Underground. I can appreciate that.
I can definitely appreciate that as well. And the DDT, like this step-up DDT, good enough for me.
I mean, shit, I feel like Ivelisse has multiple finishers, and that just happens to be one.
Yeah, and she gets the win off of it, and I loved it. You know, I love that she was able to really get the demon off her back, so to speak, with Ivelisse. I love that, you know, she gave so much blood to this. I mean, Jesus Christ. You know, that was great. I feel like Katrina wasn't exposed in any way, which, I mean, I'm gonna be truthful. I think that's a risk you always run when you commit to a program like this is, oh man, we have this really great character with these mythical origins. It's the same kind of fear, I think, in a way that you have about Aleister Black if he was to ever have extended promos, because like one botch and the mystique, right, just goes down the toilet, because especially with the very critical fan base that we have today. It's the same way with Katrina. Like, I feel like if anything would have gone wrong, it's, you know, oh, it's you fucked up, it's this and that, and it's hard to get the mystique back if you can even get it back at all. And I feel like she was so well protected, and she did a great job of carrying her weight in this. And then thankfully you can quickly get the attention off of her, because after Ivelisse gets the win, Jeremiah Crane comes in and just takes out her.
You're laughing. You're a piece of shit.
Dude, of course I'm a piece of shit. Everyone knows I'm a piece of shit.
God damn it.
And yeah, Jeremiah Crane comes in and just takes out her fucking kneecap, like just totally handicaps her at the leg. And she's all like, oh God. So Ivelisse is injured again, you know, can never really just stay healthy for too long. Courtesy of Jeremiah Crane, who is definitely the filthiest and grimiest wrestler I've ever seen. And yet, me being so pro-minority, there's enough room in my heart for him too. So it's a big love fest. Except if you're Ivelisse. I mean, you're just kind of laying there in a pool of your own blood, all crumpled and weak, and yeah, not really the best sight for Ultima Lucha. But what did you think, man?
I mean, I'm not gonna laugh about it because it was tragic, because I love Ivelisse and I don't want her to be injured.
So you didn't even chuckle a little?
No, I was sad you did.
Okay, don't act all like shocked, like who could laugh at this? All right.
Oh, I'm sorry for having appropriate emotional responses to tragic moments. Jesus Christ, you're broken.
Hey, look, man, if this is just a game of stating the obvious, I thought this was Lucha Rewatch. But regardless, no, I do think in all seriousness that a Jeremiah Ivelisse program could be very successful. Actually watching this again, I'm far more interested in it than I was like thinking about it the first time. Because I'll be honest, I really didn't even think too much about it the first time. But you know, Ivelisse, like, it's not going to let that shit go. The thing
is, too, like, they kind of set themselves up so that if Ivelisse is unable to return for season 4, they can basically write her off of season 4, because a fucking hammer shot to the knee is probably enough to take you out of action for more than a year.
At least Jeremiah like updated the meme. You know, it used to be arrow to the knee, now it could be hammer to the knee. Like, he's progressive. I really, you know, I think that's
the only thing progressive about Jeremiah is his unwillingness to tell a difference between male and female. He hates everyone and is violent to everyone regardless of gender. That's the only progressive about him.
Yeah, take a note, Phoenix.
Yeah, Phoenix.
But I love how we just got that in there.
Son of Havoc.
Yeah, I'm not wrestling a woman. I'm just, what really makes it funny is how he says it. That's what's always going to get me to laugh. But
yeah, because he has the stupid deep voice mod.
Yeah, he does.
Like, you can't just say, I'm not wrestling a woman. It's got to be, I'm not wrestling a woman. Sounds like he's doing like do you remember those like old school megaphone toys that had little like voice modifiers on them where it could make you sound higher or lower pitch depending on
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like Son of Havoc was using when he was speaking back then.
Yeah, Son of Havoc, improve those vocal cords. But anyway, Ivelisse does.
I'm pretty sure they do that in post. It's not actually his voice.
I'd say that Ivelisse did walk out the winner, but that would seem to be in poor taste. Given
we couldn't even give her our high spot because of this dickhead.
I know, right? Hammer to the knee never fails.
Oh my god.
So yeah, now I feel so good after that. God, the misfortune of others is just amazing. Is it Mask versus Hair that we're talking about next?
It is, in fact, mask versus hair. And I got to tell you, man, I don't even have much to say about this. So I want to let you really have most of the discussion. I literally have no notes on this. All I have that I know about is that Phoenix won and Mariposa turned on Marty and they ended up shaving his hair together.
Well, that's a bit of a snafu because I have the same extent of notes. Yeah, I really didn't care for this match. I mean, Phoenix, here's the thing that's really tragic about the Phoenix character to me, is that before it dawned on me that he was OP, I would have loved this fucking match, right? Because one of my favorite matches in Lucha Underground history is the very first Grave Consequences. Another match that I would say is brutal, but also a masterpiece. Because Phoenix really struggled and because he bled a lot. But that was before I really thought, like, oh, LOL, Phoenix wins. Whereas we're in that kind of era now for me. So even though he's bleeding and even though his mask is tattered, and for as much as I love Marty, I got to be truthful, like, Mil Muertes is ace. Like, you know, I would put Mil above Marty, not necessarily in fandom, but just like, I don't know, it just seems to flow more naturally. They have, I think, more of a natural chemistry to Phoenix and Mil than Phoenix and Marty. You know, bless Marty's heart, like, he tried his best with his character work, and I do think Marty had genuinely good character work here, especially towards the end with Melissa, where it's like, oh, she slaps him, but he just grabs her by the hair because it's like, you don't do that to me. I'm Marty the Moth. I'm rich. But in that very psychotic way, not in that I'm rich, you know, kind of way.
Much more ruthless, much more vindictive.
Yeah, thank you. Great word. And
Woo-hoo!
yeah, I'm
back in vocab.
I know, right? I'm so proud of you. But no, I pretty much have the same sentiments as you. Like, the match was there. In fact, honestly, I think the only thing really worth mining from this match, as far as discussion goes,
was the commentary, because Matt Stryker had the line of the night when he said Melissa knows more than anyone that the Phoenix always rises.
Oh God, I didn't even catch that, honestly. I totally, yeah. Jesus Christ, Stryker. Oh my God. No, I was going to say, before Stryker completely derailed my train of thought, the post match with Mariposa just clocking Marty with the chair and Marty getting his head shaved. Like, those are the worthwhile points to me, because now Marty, I feel like, has had a psychotic break. I mean, we even talked about it in our first review. I think one of our fans told us that, you know, as the temple was clearing out, or they were like trying to touch, he's like, don't you fucking touch me. So he stayed in character, and I fucking adore Marty for that. And yeah, like, why did Mariposa do it? Because their relationship is so unique and so weird. I'm hesitant to go to, oh, well, she's done with this shit, or it was vindictive or anything like that. She may have been trying to force some kind of growth. Like, you've lost Melissa, because Mariposa said in the beginning, like, she's making you weak, right? So we know how Mariposa feels about this. So it's like, you've lost Melissa, you've lost, in a way, your identity. Your strength is the only thing that's left. Either become stronger or perish, I feel like. That's why she did it. I mean, are you like me, where you're hesitant to, like, question the motivations given the weirdness of this relationship, or where are you at with it?
I mean, oh, that's absolutely fair. It is a weird relationship. You know who Mariposa kind of reminds me of, since we've been watching all kinds of Marvel shit recently?
Who's that?
Nebula, the Marvel Cinematic Universe version of Nebula, played by Karen Gillan. She really, like, the way that she speaks, her like diction or speaking style, and like certain little like facial expressions and stuff, for some reason, Mariposa reminds me of the Marvel Cinematic Universe version of Nebula.
Interesting. You know, I can
do that, right? Though. That's the blue woman, Gamora's sister.
Yeah. I dig that, though. I really dig that, actually, the more I think about it.
I feel like there's a tragic backstory. God damn it, I want to like her.
Dude, here's the thing, too, and I should mention this. I hope that Mariposa taking charge like this could also be read as, like, yeah, she's going to take more fucking charge in season 4, too. Because, like, I want to see more of her. I want to see her be that luchadora that just strikes fear in the heart of everybody. And even if not fear, like, respect. I still want that weird romance angle with Matanza. I want her going after Lucha Underground Championship gold. Like, Lucha Underground, and I mentioned, like, again, the romance angle with Matanza. Like, I love that Lucha Underground can do either conventional or unconventional stories and treat them with the equivalent level of like dignity and respect and seriousness. And like Mariposa seems to be that character where you can draw so many of those kinds of stories out of her. And
dude, this woman has been wrestling since 1999, and she's still younger than Natalia and Tamina.
That's crazy to me, because in 1999, I was only 7 years old. Jesus Christ.
She started wrestling a week before I turned 9.
Yeah. And I just, that's just nuts to me to think about. And I want her to have...
Oh, she literally debuted on her 17th birthday.
Oh, that's so cool.
I'm seeing it here. She was born August 17th, 82, and she debuted August 17th, 99. That's awesome.
That dude, I love wrestling sometimes.
I know.
Yeah, I want her to have a bigger spotlight. You know, I've been championing Marty really well, I wouldn't say immediately when he came in, but he grew on me pretty quickly, and I've been championing him ever since. I want to see him as world champion. I want to see, dude, and the two big feuds I want for Marty really are him and Mil Muertes and him and Matanza. Like, I want them bad. So that'll be great. But yeah, just give the Moth siblings a bigger role in season 4, please. Like, that's my big wish list. And yeah, there's really nothing else for me to say about this match. And so, by extension, there's nothing else for me to say on this episode of Lucha Rewatch. It was an okay match, but I'm more interested in the aftermath of the story. Highlight of this whole thing, again, was Hell of War. Fucking masterpiece, Jesus Christ. And
I love, though, that like there were legitimately some matches on Ultima Lucha 3 that felt like conclusive endings to stories. And I think Hell of War is the best example of that. But there were also a lot, and Katrina Ivelisse is also a good example of that, I think. But then that started a new story with Ivelisse and Jeremiah. And that could also involve, probably will actually involve Katrina as well. So maybe that's not as over as I thought. But what I also like is that we do have some matches like this that might be like, it's this and Ivelisse Katrina. They're the ending of one story, but they immediately set open a brand new story that we're going to want to see more of in the following seasons.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. This season was so good. I feel like they needed a season after this, after the season they had with season 2, because it's not that season 2 was a dumpster fire.
I really like I enjoyed season 2 more than most people, but I really hope season 4 isn't another season 2. Not because I'm afraid I won't enjoy it, because I really do feel like season 2 made a lot of people either stop watching or I just feel like the sentiments on the internet about Lucha Underground during and after season 2 went way more negative than they were during season 1. And even though most people who stuck with Lucha Underground through season 2 into and including season 3 would tell you that season 3 was amazing and arguably better than season 1, I'm still worried that a lot of people either stopped watching because of season 2 or they just kind of generalized and, the Lucha Underground really just went to shit after season 1, because that's not true. And I don't even think that it went to shit in season 2 either. I still enjoyed most of season 2, as much as I'm not a big fan of what Ultima Lucha Dos ended up being. I still love a majority of season 2. Like, to me, early season 2 was absolutely brilliant, and the latter of season 2 was really good too. I think the middle was kind of clustery, but even that wasn't bad by today's wrestling standards. And then when you get to season 3, it's like it goes from really good to holy shit amazing, especially once we hit Aztec Warfare and really get rolling. And hell, we don't even have to wait for them, because in the first 2 episodes, we had the freaking Weapons of Mass Destruction match between Marty and Killshot, and that was amazing too. So like, there was a lot to love in seasons 2 and 3, but I feel like for some reason, and it might have literally just been Sexy Star winning the title and people finding out about that and being like, oh, fuck this company and all that shit. But at the end of the day, I really just want season 4 to be more hype and more like positively received by the general audience than season 2 was. And because of season 2, then the lack of people even talking about season 3, and especially because of the mid-season break then too.
For me, yeah, I'm with everything you just said. I didn't hate season 2 by any means, but I feel like, and I feel like we even said this in one of our reviews, it felt less like a season 2 and more like a season 1.5, like 1.
Right. And I don't want season 3.5. I want season 4, but it feels like because it's a shorter season and there were budget cuts, it feels like we're going to be basically getting season 3.5 now. And I'm worried about that.
I really, and we talked about this earlier, so I'm not going to like retread all this because I really do want us to go home here in a second. But like, I eagerly await the day, and hopefully it's a day that does come where Lucha Underground can have that stability, because I feel like the longer seasons are always the better ones.
I mean, I already know that there are legitimately people working for Lucha Underground that want it to be a year-round thing, that don't necessarily want off seasons. I personally love the off seasons, but if there are people and even writers that want to work year-round with Lucha Underground, they want that to be their full-time job, I'm all for that. But in order for that to happen, it has to hit mainstream. It has to get a lot of viewers. It has to really kind of hit it big. And I feel like it's the quality is good enough for it to do that. It's just a matter of the buzz getting there.
See, and just to put my 2 cents in on that very quickly, I just want that sweet spot. What I want is, I like the off season too, because I feel like, again, absence makes the heart grow fonder. I'm a firm believer in that. But when you come back, I want 40 episode seasons every season. Like, I want those big seasons, or I'll even put it to you this way. Not even so much the quantity of episodes, however many episodes you need to tell the stories you want to tell fully and completely, I want you to have that number of episodes. That's how I'll put it to you. Because it's not always about the number. It's about what you need to tell a particular story or set of stories. And sometimes I feel like, yeah, it doesn't really feel like they were done in like a season 2 or possibly in the season 4. I may walk away thinking, well, you know, there was probably more they wanted to do with that. I don't want them left with that feeling. And I don't want to be left thinking they have that feeling. You know, I want all parties to be satisfied. So hopefully one day that comes. But as far as tonight goes, Marty got his head shaved. Phoenix and Melissa are triumphant. And that closes out.
Mariposa is now trying to, well, I don't really know how to explain what Mariposa is doing, because you were even talking about it. Like, is she trying to help Marty see the error of his ways, or does she just hate him now?
Yeah, honestly, that'll be another thing I really can't wait for to find out more about in season 4. But with that said, those are the first 2 parts of Ultimate Lucha Trace. Next week we end it, we round it out. I can't believe this really flew by. Like, I
know, dude. Next week is our final episode of season 3 rewatch, and then the week after we've got DeJoseph and Roach in for the interview, where we're going to be talking about all of the storylines that were either dropped or altered in the first 3 seasons. I can't wait for either one of those episodes.
I am so curious to hear, because then I know the discussion you and I have, like, can you believe this one was dropped? I know, right? It's going to be nuts. We may even want to do like an after kind of thing, just giving our thoughts on that. I don't know. But in the meantime, I'm going to hand the reins over to you to take us home.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we hope that you are enjoying Lucha Underground Rewatch Season 3 as we've been doing it. As we just said, next week is our final episode, episode 20. We will be watching Season 3, episodes 39 and 40. Man, I can't believe it's ending, but here we are. And then, like I said, the week after, we're bringing in Chris DeJoseph, who is an executive producer and the head writer, and Chris Roach, who also writes for Lucha Underground. Those guys, and a third guy by the name of Matt Stolman, who isn't really active on social media, are the writing team of Lucha Underground. And we're getting 2/3 of the writing team, and DeJoseph is also listed as an executive producer. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk storylines that were dropped or altered in the first 3 seasons. That's going to be great. The week after next, on Wednesday at 5 p.m., hopefully, we'll have to, I'm pretty sure we already have that hammered out, but we'll see, make sure that it sticks. And man, that's it for the penultimate episode. It's it for episode 19. Remember to like this video if you haven't already, and as well as subscribing if you haven't already. And once you do subscribe, remember to click that bell icon for notifications every time we go live or upload a video. Let us know what you think about Lucha Underground Season 3, anything we might have discussed in this episode of Lucha Rewatch. And if you're interested in previous episodes of Lucha Rewatch before Season 3, we have Seasons 1 through 3 as playlists, and those playlists are listed in the description. You can click on those and they'll take you to them, and you'll be able to watch all of our previous episodes of Lucha Rewatch. We did 10 episodes in Season 1. We did 13 episodes in Season 2. And now we're doing 20 for Season 3, as well as our live reactions and TWitWoW reviews to Season 3. Those both have playlists as well, linked in the description. And you can follow us both on Twitter and like our Facebook page. And if you're interested in supporting TWitWoW, you can do so by either donating to our Patreon or buying merch on our Teespring. With Patreon, it's only $3 a month to get you into our Discord, where you get very intimate access to John and myself, as well as other TWitWoW fans that felt like it was worth their at least $3 a month to get into that group as well. And you can also let that money accumulate over time to request a live reaction or a live reaction and a review to a wrestling show of your choosing. And you're contributing to the community goal. Today is the last day to get your donations in for February, because after today, we roll over to March, and any new donations that come in tomorrow will count towards March. If you get your donation in today, we can get you into the Discord tomorrow, baby. Tomorrow. It's going to be great. That all being said, ladies and gentlemen, we hope that you enjoyed the show, and we will see you all tonight for NXT. Or if you're only here for Lucha Rewatch, then we will see you next Wednesday, 5 p.m., same time, same place, for the final episode of Lucha Rewatch Season 3. Regardless of whether you're going to be here tonight for NXT or next week for Lucha Rewatch again, though, all we can ask you to do is stay tuned.